Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. It has finally happened. The symbiotic relationships panel at San Diego Comic-Con has gone down, and on the other side of it, we have gotten the official story trailer for Marvel Spider-Man 2, and let me just say, this game looks absolutely incredible. This trailer has me beyond hyped, more hyped than I possibly could have imagined going into this game. It is truly an incredible trailer, and we are going to completely break it down for you today. If you've been with us before in our trailer breakdowns, this is how it works. We are going to go frame by frame, break it all down, analyze everything that we see on our screen, make sure that we don't miss any of the great brand new details. But before we do this, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always, and the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It'll notify you every single time that Andreas and I upload. Now, with that out of the way, Andreas, I just want to get into this trailer and break it all down because it's freaking awesome.
Let's do it, guys. The brand new story trailer starts off with a shot of Harry and Peter. They're sitting in the football stands at Midtown High School. We know that Midtown is going to be in Queens, the new area of the game. A lot of people are going to be really excited to look around Queens for the first time in Insomniac Spider-Verse here. And really, the important part of this scene, Nick, is the dialogue between Harry and Peter, because we get to see Harry's motivations here. We can maybe read into the relationship between Harry and Peter. This is all juicy stuff that we've been waiting and dying to get into. So the dialogue here is really all from Harry. Harry tells Peter, and this is the quote, "A lot's happened in the last 10 years. It's a miracle I'm even sitting here. I got a second chance, and I'm going to take advantage of that. But I need you with me, Pete. We're going to heal the world." And this heal the world quote is going to be very important later on in the trailer. But Nick, just kind of diving into the other substance of this, what can we extract from this narrative dialogue between these two?
Yeah, to me, this is after Harry has been exposed to the Venom symbiote and it has been able to heal him or cure him of that disease that he is facing. Like, clearly he is in a much better health standpoint than he was when we last saw him in the previous game. So I think this is after he's been exposed to the symbiote, and he talks about how he's gotten a second chance and he's going to take advantage of it. So I think we are a little into the game here, and we are post-symbiote.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick, and let's kind of just scrub along through on to the next section here. We get the iconic Marvel intro, and then we are introduced to Miles and Peter, and we were able to actually figure out exactly where they are here just by this bridge that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. We do believe that that is the Williamsburg Bridge, and the Manhattan skyline just on the other side of the river here. And you can see, I like also all the way in the back, you can even see the Statue of Liberty, which just shows like the draw distances in this game, like how incredible it is. But what we kind of stitched together here is that they are actually jumping off of the Visions Academy. There are various ways that we can confirm that. First of all, by the placement of that bridge, we know that we're on the Brooklyn side of things, so we are in Brooklyn. And we can see, just based off of the basketball courts on the left-hand side and the football field on the right side, we see the blue and yellow school colors, which lines up perfectly with the school colors on the VA logo on Miles's Visions Academy suit from Spider-Man Miles Morales. So I do think that this is Visions Academy, and we're going to be able to explore around it in this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I definitely think this is Brooklyn Visions Academy. We know from the PS5 remaster that I believe there is a shot in the post-credit scene where they actually changed the shirt that Miles is wearing to be a Brooklyn Visions Academy shirt. And like you said, there is a Brooklyn Visions Academy suit in Miles Morales, and the logo on the chest of his blazer matches that same blue and gold color scheme. And this is clearly not Midtown High School. This is a completely different school.
And the next few sequences of this trailer are just showing us various areas around New York, primarily Brooklyn here, this being what I believe to be Dumbo Brooklyn. And then here on the right-hand side, you see the Manhattan Bridge. Brooklyn Bridge is on the left. So we're looking at the segment of Manhattan known as Two Bridges over the East River here. And then the next shot here is our first look at Coney Island in this game, which this just looks like a really fun place to be. I hope we're actually able to maybe do some mini games or something here.
Yeah, this looks really cool. I've been really looking forward to seeing Coney Island gameplay, just how they were going to go about doing it, what the carnival was going to look like. And then we get this next shot of Peter actually introducing Harry as his best friend to both Miles and Genki. He says, guys, this is my best friend Harry. And then they have a little exchange where Harry's like, nice to meet you. And then Miles says to Peter, new job, huh? Still gonna have time for tutoring, of course, referring to not actually tutoring him, but helping him become a better Spider-Man, showing him the ways around the web.
And I think this is a theme throughout this trailer here, is that Miles seems very focused on being a better Spider-Man. Like, he's very focused on the task of saving the friendly neighborhood as Spider-Man. And it seems like Peter is a little distracted here. And I think this is the first, just planting the seeds of that theme throughout this trailer, where, like you said, Nick, Miles is saying, are you going to still have time for this? And Peter kind of brushes it off here, just saying, we'll figure it out. So just a theme that I'm starting to see being laid here at the beginning of the trailer.
Yeah, I completely agree. You're kind of seeing that, like, Peter is either distracted by his new job or he's distracted by the fact that Harry is back and he has his best friend back. And I don't want to say Miles is showing some jealousy, but he's like, hey, you know, like, you still going to have time for me? And I agree. I feel like we're going to see that a lot throughout this game. Kind of this tension between Harry, Peter, and Miles start to form. And I think this is a good indication of it from this trailer.
Now, up next, we are seeing what we believe to be just maybe one of the higher difficulty bosses out of Kraven's camp here. This dude dressed kind of like a bear, and we get the funny dialogue from Peter saying, I didn't know there were bears in these woods. It looks like Peter is in some sort of a lab here, just on the backdrop. Nick, any idea where we could be at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. There was a portion right when the guy in the bear suit was coming in where it says lobby in the background off to the right. So I don't know if this is like a zoo or like a museum or a lab, like you said, but it is clearly a pretty expansive location. And I think we actually see this same location later on in the trailer where we see more of Kraven's guys. So I think we're all seeing the same location, but actually later on in the trailer, we see Peter in the symbiote suit. So maybe we come back to this place multiple times.
And then up next, we get a shot of Peter Parker's Spider-Man here flying across Central Park. We see the pond down below. And Nick, you actually pointed this out as we're flying across Central Park in our web wings here. You can see the Oscorp tower in the background in the skyline here. One of the funny things that I'd like to point out is I always thought it was a little odd that we were able to, use our webs to swing across Central Park, given that there are no buildings. And it does seem like, I wonder if this is a little tongue-in-cheek from the Insomniac crew, maybe acknowledging that using the web wings to finally get across Central Park is a bit more realistic. But I really like this shot for that reason. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's the first time we get to see Peter use the web wings up to this point. I believe the only gameplay we've seen is just of Miles himself using the web wings. So here we get to see Peter using it in his advanced suit. And I do wonder how the web wings will be utilized across multiple different versions of the suits, since we're just seeing the stock suits for both Peter and Miles up to this point. So I just wonder how some of the other variants of the suits are going to utilize it. For example, if they put the Raimi trilogy suit into this game, will they give it web wings, or will they not give it web wings because it didn't have that in the movie, but it is a mechanic in this game? Just some interesting decisions that Insomniac has.
And up next, we have a new look at MJ here. We are seeing a new refurbished MJ, I might want to call it. It kind of reminds me of how they kind of refreshed Peter a bit. Maybe not to the same extent, but definitely a new look for MJ here. Right, Nick?
Yeah, they definitely updated her a little bit. It's still the same facial features and same facial capture, I believe, same facial model. So not a complete refresh like they did with Peter in the remaster for PS5, but MJ's definitely rocking a new look in this game.
And here we get a cool piece of dialogue, again, contextualizing the story. This is a story trailer after all. And we have Peter telling MJ, hey, MJ, I have another name for you, Kraven, and he's here on some kind of hunt. So acknowledging that at this point in the story, whenever he's saying this, that he is aware of Kraven's whole plan here to go on a hunt throughout the city. And this is maybe also suggestive of MJ's career at the Daily Bugle at this point in time, working under J. Jonah Jameson. And I'm wondering if maybe he's kind of giving her a tip to look into, maybe to report on. But I'm kind of wondering how these two are going to continue to interact with the new dynamics over at the Daily Bugle.
Yes, and we do know now from the symbiotic relationships panel that J. Jonah Jameson has reacquired the Daily Bugle and that MJ will be working under him as a reporter at the Daily Bugle. And this sequence here kind of reminds me of the City That Never Sleeps DLC, where Peter would call MJ to like give her some information or give her, tip her off to have her look into something for him. Kind of reminded me of the same vibes we're getting here out of this story trailer.
And then going on here, we get another familiar shot of Kraven here as we see Kraven's goons just causing trouble throughout the city. One note is in the far back right, we see that Swilco sign. If you guys didn't know, Swilco, it's featured in the prior Spider-Man games, but this is a passive reference to Fizco from Sunset Overdrive. So cool little Insomniac reference that they're again just hiding in this trailer here. So love to see that. And this shot here of Peter in his nice fancy tux, I love this shot. Looks like a undercover sequence in this game. Almost gives me like an Uncharted vibe to it, right?
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me to the Into the Spider-Verse scene where they break into Kingpin's like evening party and they pretend to be waiters. Like Peter B. Parker pretends to be a waiter, and then he sees MJ and like almost blows all of their covers because he wants to talk to her. When I saw Peter in a tux pretending to be a waiter, like holding it, I just immediately thought of that movie.
I agree 100%, and I hope they give us maybe a tuxedo spider suit. That would be super sick. I'd love to see that. Maybe they can just make that happen for us. But just fresh new threats for Peter here.
And then we get this shot of, again, one of Kraven's like dog robot things. We saw this in the gameplay reveal trailer where it jumps onto Spider-Man. This time he is not utilizing the symbiote suit, he is utilizing his standard advanced suit, and I'm very intrigued and interested to see how differently you will be able to handle this like robotic dog like thing, like how able you are to take it down when you're utilizing the symbiote suit versus the advanced suit. Like, will it be easier for Peter to kill these things when he's wearing the symbiote suit? I would imagine he will. I just wonder if Insomniac made those subtle little changes in the overall power scale of Peter in this game.
You know, Nick, these cyber dogs always remind me of Goddard from Jimmy Neutron. I don't know why, but I'm going to call them Goddards.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Like, yeah, go ahead. Until we know their real name, might as well.
And then the next clip here, Nick, this is something that you were very excited about, right?
Yes, because one of the big questions I feel going into this panel that a lot of people in the community had was, is the Venom symbiote lab-made or is it of alien origin? And to me, this confirms that the Venom symbiote is sticking to the original canon of the symbiote, and it is alien in nature. This looks like it has crashed down on Earth in either a ship or an asteroid or something, but to me, this is clearly alien origin. It's from space, and it looks like we have some members of Oscorp, presumably, since they get their hands on it, approaching the Venom symbiote to contain it and then take it for testing or whatever they're going to do for it. But to me, this confirms alien symbiote.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Nick. You could just tell by, the crater here and the flames. It looks like this thing has crash landed on Earth, and it's here to cause some big problems, which we're going to get into in just a little bit. But first, some more great dialogue here and more details directly in the heart of this story here. We have Miles telling Peter, you know, if you need me, I'm just a call away. And then we have something that everybody's been talking about, and that is Miles telling Mr. Negative, Lee, you don't know what you took from me. And this is a really emotional moment of this trailer because, well, on the one hand, we know that Lee is back as Mr. Negative, but also what this is going to mean for Miles in particular here, the emotional impact of this moment, we've been told from Najee Jeter at the panel, weighs very heavy, and this is going to be one of those big moments for this story, particularly for Miles. And something you pointed out, Nick, is that Peter is actually lingering in the background, right?
Yeah, he sure is. But before we get into this, I just want to say that this was one of the biggest shocks for me, and I think for a lot of people from this trailer, was the confirmation that Lee would be returning to Marvel Spider-Man 2. And I'm interested to see what his capacity will be, because he doesn't look like he's ready to be Mr. Negative. He looks pretty beaten down, and he looks like he's trying to hide himself. And what I'm really interested to see is, in this sequence, Miles sounds pissed. Like, it sounds like he wants to rip him apart. Like, you have no idea what you took from me. Like, I'm coming for you. Wouldn't it be crazy if at some point we see Miles get his hands on the symbiote and he goes seeking that vengeance, or the symbiote drives him to seek that vengeance, like we see in Spider-Man 3, where, you know, the symbiote suit drives Peter to go after Sandman and try to kill him. So I'm just interested to see if that storyline will work its way into this game at all. But going back to what you said, yes, in the background, it's very blurred. We can see Peter's back there trying to help people. We see a propeller for what I presume to be like a cargo ship spinning. So looks like the sequence is taking place on the docks, and some shit went down because things are on fire, and there is a propeller where there shouldn't be a propeller, and people are on the ground. So something clearly has taken place here, and it looks like we're on the docks.
Yep, it looks almost, I wonder if we're maybe by the Harlem docks that we saw earlier on in the earlier gameplay trailer. But Nick, you make a great point, and I wonder if Insomniac is doing a switcheroo here, and if in the actual game you're gonna see Miles in a Miles symbiote suit maybe, and then, you know, he's all pissed off with his, like, under the influence of that symbiote in the scene. It would make perfect sense, because it does, correct me if I'm wrong, look like Lee here is wearing like an orange, almost like prisoner attire. It looks like maybe he's gone to break him out of prison in this scene. I don't know, that's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting, and I'm wondering if that plotline that you're suggesting is in fact the case. So would love to hear what everybody has to say about that in the comments down below, if you think that's likely, if Insomniac's pulling a switcheroo here and in the actual game Miles is going to be full-on symbiote Miles here. I just can't wait to see how this actually plays out in game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think having the Venom symbiote, like, as overall, like, encompassing this game and as like a blanket over the top of this game, provides a lot of interesting opportunities for the relationships, and I think we see some insight into that as this trailer continues.
And then another massive moment for this trailer is right here. Nick, I'll let you just marinate in this.
Yeah, so I think that we're getting our first official look at Wraith, because if you look at the character model, her hair, the mask she's wearing, it looks just like what Wraith looked like on the tablet that Kraven had from the gameplay reveal trailer. So I'm like 99% sure that this is actually Wraith. Now, what I'm not sure of is, we see Peter there on the left, like you see his advanced suit, that is clearly Peter. I cannot tell who that is on the right, because it's not Miles. I don't know if it's Harry or somebody else, or just some random person that's like, this is like a side mission or something, but it's clearly not Miles, and I have no idea who that is on the right.
And as we do move along here, we get a voice line of Rio to Peter saying all Miles talks about is how to be a better Spider-Man, how to help you, presumably talking directly to Peter here. And this again is reinforcing that theme that we were talking about earlier in this game, where Peter might be preoccupied by other things, whether it be Harry, the symbiote, what have you, and that Miles is really focused on being Spider-Man. And so this is another voice line reinforcing that theme here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then as we continue here, we get some more of that insight that we were talking about as to how the symbiote is going to impact the relationships in this game. We have this sequence here of MJ hiding from symbiote Peter. Like, she is so scared of him or whatever has gone on here that she feels the need to hide from Peter, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, and on that same vein, we also get another soundbite of Miles saying, "The hell is going on with Pete?" And then MJ says, "He's not himself. Go help him." And she sounds very serious at this point in the trailer. And like you said, Nick, she is almost terrified of Peter at this point. So Peter is bordering on going full Venom here. So I'm wondering how far they're going to push this. Will Peter even maybe directly harm the ones that he loves, including MJ? And Miles is maybe the only person left to stand in the way of that at this sequence in the story. Whatever it is, it leaves a really juicy plot line here for the relationships between Peter and the ones that he loves.
And and the one thing that they kept talking about in this panel was how they were looking for drama in their story. And I'm seeing that in this trailer between Miles and Lee. Here, how the symbiote is impacting Peter and his relationships. There's just a lot of drama that we're going to have to deal with in this game. A lot of high stakes. So definitely getting, Insomniac wanted to give us drama. They're clearly giving it to us.
And then here we have a really cool environment. We've got Miles here who's jumped into what appears to be some sort of a stronghold for Kraven and all of his goons. The background here with all of, the taxidermied animals laid all over the wall, and they're all framed up nicely. Almost reminds me of the Chameleon Conspiracy comic book cover, making me wonder if this is maybe the Kravinoff estate.
Yeah, I was kind of getting the same vibes. That I know in one of the comic lines that there is a Kravinov estate in New York City, and that's kind of what this looks like. This looks like it kind of fits that mansion estate vibes, and it definitely looks like it's a hideout of some sort for Kraven and his guys, because they're all over the place. Like, clearly Miles has entered an area that he shouldn't be. What I do wonder is, you see him break in through that window at the beginning. I wonder if that's one of those seamless transition points where you go from swinging outside the city into the building, like that they were so proud of in Miles Morales, where you could seamlessly transition from inside a building out back into New York City utilizing the solid state. I just wonder if this is another one of those sequences. And then next up, we have this shot of symbiote Peter on top of Lizard, and we have confirmation that the Lizard scream will impact the symbiote. He's grabbing his head, the symbiote's going wild. So the vibrations, the loud noises of Lizard screaming will impact the symbiote, just like we've seen other similar things impact the symbiote across the Spider-Man universe over the years.
Then here we get a great piece of dialogue between Harry and Peter. In the back, we can see an Oscorp helicopter. And what Harry says to Peter is, "This was our dream." And I'm starting to maybe speculate what he's talking about. Nick, any ideas?
I'm just trying to get over the fact that, why is there an Oscorp helicopter, parked in the middle of an intersection? Like this guy literally pulled up in a helicopter and landed in the middle of New York City, a street like this. I'm just having a hard time getting over that. It screams Osborn type, ego behavior, but come on, man, you're really going to land your helicopter in the middle of an intersection? But to be completely honest with you, Andreas, this was our dream. I feel like he's talking about how they wanted to help the world. They wanted to heal the world. And I feel like that is what's going to drive Harry. Is I feel like he's going to get his hands on the symbiote and it's going to heal him. And I think that's going to push him perhaps too far, that he thinks the symbiote can do things to help heal the world and realize their dream that they had, and he's just going to take things too far. We've seen storylines similar to this in other comic book stories, so I think that's the direction we're headed in. And they talk about in the first Spider-Man game, I remember that there are these clinics and research facilities all over the city that Harry was working with and working on, and I think they may have belonged to his mom or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I think what he's referring to here is Peter, this was our dream to help people, and I have a way to do it now. This symbiote, this Venom symbiote allows me to do it. Look what it did to me. It healed me. Imagine what we can do together to help heal the world. And I just think Peter's not going to want to go that far, because he's going to have some pretty radical ideas for it.
Yeah, I'm thinking if maybe this is a point in the game where Peter has seen directly how harmful the symbiote can be. Maybe this is perhaps after the symbiote has really screwed with Peter and his relationships, and maybe at that point he's realizing, Harry, maybe this symbiote isn't something that you should be messing with. But I think, Nick, you're hitting the nail on the head. At a minimum, this line here and just the way that Harry delivers the line really indicates that he's upset with Peter. It's really starting to plant the seeds that Harry is going to be the Venom in this game.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of Amazing Spider-Man 2 vibes between the relationship of Peter and Harry, where Harry's been gone for such a long time, and then when he gets back, he wants Peter's help, and Peter's just not willing to go the necessary steps to help him, and that drives them apart and their relationship apart. I'm just feeling a lot of the same vibes that we got from the story in that movie. And then as we continue, this is a very familiar scene, but I want to focus in here on these next few sequences. We see Harry struggling to walk, and then we get to this shot of Peter in the symbiote suit. This is the shot that I was referring to earlier, where I feel like this is the same location of that like lab, zoo, museum area where he was fighting that guy in the bear suit. It looks like it's a similar location, and he is clearly fighting off Kraven's guys. Like, you see one of his robotic birds there trying to hold him, and then Peter does this like crazy spiky Venom symbiote move, which I'm really excited to see all of the different abilities you'll be able to have with the symbiote suit, like the different things it can do and how powerful it is and the different attacks. So I thought that was a really cool sequence. And then as we continue here, we get to see another shot of MJ. She looks incredibly concerned over whatever is happening. I'm sure it's nothing good. We get to see our look at some more of the Venom powers. It's funny that they are called Venom powers when we're dealing with the Venom symbiote, but that's besides the point. We see some of Miles' new bioelectric Venom powers. We see Harry and Norman talking together in front of the tank holding the symbiote. I thought that was really interesting. And then Norman says, I'm not going to lose you too. Like, Norman is willing to do whatever it takes to save Harry. I just think it's very interesting that like there is going to be a shot of the Venom symbiote with Harry and Norman. I wonder if this is like a flashback shot to before Harry's put into the tank, and this is like Norman convincing him like, hey, this is what we have to do to save you. Like, I need to do this because I'm not going to lose you too. Like, get your ass in the tank, pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to go in that tank with that thing. That just looks unsanitary and potentially dangerous. So I totally understand. And then here we have a shot of Harry, and he looks pretty damn pissed off as he's breaking this window. Looks like the cane that he was holding earlier to help himself walk, he is throwing into the glass here and shattering it. He's absolutely pissed off. Wonder why. No reason for Harry to be pissed off in this game, right? But then here, Nick, this is really like the money shot of this trailer right now, right?
Yep, it sure is, because here we get the voiceover from Venom for the first time. We finally get to hear what Venom's going to sound like. He sounds phenomenal, by the way. But he says the same thing that Harry said at the beginning of this trailer. We're going to heal the world. And you get this shot of Harry's wearing the same gray shirt. He's overlooking the city. Like, this is like soft confirmation that Harry will be Venom at some point. I don't know if it's them trying to throw a bait and switch because it feels too obvious, but if you don't want to look too deep into it, this is Insomniac telling us that, yeah, Harry is in fact Venom in this game. Like, he has to be at some point since they have the same exact voice line. Like, why would Venom say we're going to heal the world? Like, that's clearly Harry's line. So at some point along the way, Harry will serve as some sort of Venom. And now, the one thing that was interesting to me about this shot, I don't know if this was intentional and there's something going on, but as this shot progresses, there's like lights across the city that start to go out, like a subtle blackout is starting to take place. So I wonder if it's something going on, or maybe it was just like a render issue with the trailer or the gameplay and it's not supposed to be a thing. But if you guys just pay attention, you'll see that lights start to go off across the city as like a blackout. So not quite sure what's going on there. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but just something I noticed.
Yeah, as far as we're aware, guys, there are two people who are aware of the phrase, we're going to heal the world. One of them is Harry, but the other one is Peter. So who knows? Maybe Venom could be Peter here. Just kind of maybe ways that Insomniac could be throwing us off. But speaking of Venom, Nick, we got Venom in all of his glory here.
Yep, this trailer closes with an incredible sequence of Venom taking down one of Kraven's like helicopter plane ships thing. It looks like this might be in like Times Square or something like that. Very illuminated, a lot of neon. I'm not quite sure where they're at. I'm not a pro when it comes to New York City, but there's clearly a lot of people and a lot of neon lights. It reminded me of an area like that. But what this does tell me is we were wondering from the screenshot, because this is the same sequence where that screenshot that they dropped yesterday comes from. Was Venom working with Kraven's people? Was this them hunting him? This is clear now that Venom and Kraven's people in this sequence, they're not friends. Like, friends don't crash other friends' helicopters. Like, clearly they're fighting here. So that answers that question, that this looks like Kraven's people hunting Venom, and Venom's not going to take that shit.
Yeah, we know that Kraven's going for a hunt, and perhaps part of that hunt is now to hunt down Venom. But this is, again, maybe making me think, is it possible that it could be Peter, and that Peter is fighting Kraven as Venom here? I don't know. I know this trailer seems to be pushing that Harry is Venom, but I'm almost wondering if there will be a switcheroo and if it's actually Peter. I don't know. I'm just kind of like thinking about that possibility a lot here.
Now, one thing I do want to throw out there for discussion before we get out of here, since this is the last thing. Since we know Insomniac likes to do their little seamless transitions into gameplay, and here we clearly see Venom versus Kraven's people and no sign of Peter or Miles, at least off the bat, would this transition into gameplay? Would this allow us to play as Venom? I know that is a question that people have been wondering for a long time now. It's a hot topic. It's something that I want to talk about in its own individual video, but just want to throw it out there for you guys to discuss down below in our comments. You think Venom's going to be playable in this game? Because I could see an argument for it here from this sequence, because this looks like it's just Venom and Kraven, and unless this is a dedicated cutscene, perhaps you can transition in some Venom gameplay. I'm just throwing it out there just for you guys to get your thoughts. But guys, that pretty much closes out the story trailer for Marvel Spider-Man 2. It just cuts to like the title sequence and the release date. So that is everything. Let us know down below in your comments. Do you think Venom's going to be playable? What was your favorite sequence from this story trailer? Did this story trailer do the job of getting you even more hyped for this game? Because I think I speak for both Andreas and I when I say this is one of the best trailers I've seen in a long time for a video game. Like, this got me even more hyped than I possibly could, and I feel like every time we get something new for Marvel Spider-Man 2, it just gets me more and more excited. This looks like a clear-cut Game of the Year contender for 2023. I just cannot wait for October. This is going to be truly special. But guys, that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.